I believe they buffed the enchant totem aghanim scepter thing, did they not?
Slightly from
Right.
1 second airtime to 0.8, and they also they reduced the cast point from 0.69 to 0.6. So I don't think
Not
that
nice.
change was a nice number change. Yeah, that wasn't nice, but I guess the airtime being down is great. The thing is, we don't see many shakers hit a fast Ags timing. I think I don't know how impactful 0.2
You
being taken from
misunderstand,
fly
Jonathan.
time is big.
It's not about the shaker, John. It's about who the shaker's teamed up with. And that's the
Right,
morphling, right? It's the morphling buff. That's what it is. We just saw Mid-1 make the morphling look good against Gyrocopter. If Gyrocopter's going to be popular, I'd assume morphling's going to make a big reappearance in the meta. And long behold, Earthshaker gets his Aghanim Scepter of all things buffed that he can't farm fast enough anyway. So guess who just got indirectly buffed, John? It's morphling. Morphling might be back. I mean, TNC, they know. They've already planned this out. TNC have got a very, very good idea of how good Morphling ES is right now, I'm sure. Still, Motivate.Trust, pick up another buffed hero. And a lot of people couldn't understand why this hero was buffed. But TB got +3 strength, I believe.
0.3, yeah, plus
0.3
0.3 strength scaling. So it
Right.
does feel like you do get tankier, and that was always a shortcoming of Terrorblade as well. Like, that was his big glaring weakness. He needed to stack strength, SNY, Satanic or Heart, just to build up and stand in front. Now, and Scotty, now you get a little bit more value. So he is a little bit tankier. I don't know why, right? Like, we talked about it in the last patch when 7.3 itself just came out. Terrorblade wasn't really touched, and he did just fade away in the meta, but he's still strong. And it is a Jackie special here from Motivate.Trust, so they know the timings to play around. They know what they have to do. It can push really fast. You do have to worry about the magical damage on YG. With Beastmaster, the Roar, the Boris can kind of slow you up. You've got the Swap to kind of kite him around. You've got the Slam. So pre-BKB, if you're playing with your illusions there in the Terrorblade, you can just kind of burst him down. And you have the Storm to cut across the lines as well. So I think the response from YG is enough to keep the Terrorblade down. You just have to execute, and Motivate.Trust is a high-caliber team. They've been our favorites in a couple of tournaments. They have been up and down in the end result, but just shows you how competitive the region is. So we'll see if YG can put a dent on Jackie's farm. Key thing is, still play with that Beastmaster, shut down the jungle as fast as possible, prevent Jackie from flash farming.
Oh, absolutely. Yangon, Galacticos, where are we going with this final pickup? It does feel like they do need some kind of position 1, unless they're running the POS 1 Venge, but I would probably highly advise against that, as I don't think POS 1 Venge is the way to go right now with the hero. So another position 1. Against TB, you do not have Morph. You do have the Gyrocopter if you want to go down that route. Seen that before. You have the Luna, though that got even more nerfed in the recent patch that just came out, so maybe not the smartest idea to go down that route. And I think Luna still does pretty badly into TB anyway. They're going to go down the PA route. So something very different popping up here. PA, did she get a buff? Let me have a quick gander, John. I feel like I saw something about Phantom Assassin
Yeah.
today. She did.
Slightly. Like HP regen up by 0.5. So from 0.25 to 0.75, you talked about the impact in lane. It does feel nicer in sustain against harassment. The blur buff is pretty nice, and it kind of plays into what I always advocate with a talent. You go for the evasion talent as well, so it's even higher now. The response from Motivate.Trust is on point, though. They go Necrophos, so that should be our fearless mid Kunkka. Kunkka against Storm Spirit's not too bad. You already have good hold with the X. The Necrophos ensures you always have a way to burst any of these heroes down. And that's true BKB as well. So you can get a hold true to BKB, you can kill off these heroes really fast, and you can just kind of run your lane fine. You even have protection against PA with your own natural ghost form. So it's going to be hard for how to gun for Masaros every single time. The control has to fly out first. Even then, it might not be enough.
I look very forward to seeing how this game pans out. I think the Necrophos is going to be one of those heroes that people underestimate in this current patch, but I do think it is slowly making its own re-emergence into the meta. And it's one of those heroes that hasn't been touched. And generally with a hero like Necrophos that can be broken instantly, that's a really good thing for the hero, because as everyone's getting nerfed around it and it gets forgotten about, that's how these kind of heroes get powerful. And so we'll see what Masaros can do. I think against the draft that YG have anyway, the Necro is quite strong, and there's really not much in the way of dealing with it. I'm struggling to find something that can deal with it through the Ghost Shroud. And really, there's only young PH in the Storm right now. Still, John, I'll ask you the hard question before we do get into game number 1. Who do you think came out with the more favorable draft?
I think Motivate.Trust have the draft to kind of hold down YG this time around. They've got this comfort pick on Jackie with the Terrorblade coming through. We've seen him perform in that hero multiple times. And as we've mentioned, after 7.3, it really didn't get changed in the playstyle. Almost like the TA. Got some value changes, not enough to hurt it, and even got a buff. So I think it's in a really good position now with its strength gain. For YG's part, they have some good spikes, like PA against Terrorblade will force the Terrorblade to either consider some form of break from his team, maybe a Bloodtorn coming out, or just the MKB pickup in TB, which is not something you see too often. So that can cause some back and forth timing issues there. But overall, I think the answers are on Motivate.Trust draft, and they should be able to hold out against that push in the Beastmaster.
Oh, well, let's get into it, John. Game number 1 between Motivate.Trust and Yangon Galacticos set to get underway. Looking very, very forward to seeing what these two teams bring out in this game 1.
Nobody wins.
Should be a pretty entertaining matchup, I'm sure. I think Motivate.Trust were the favorites, but we are going to have a quick gander at the betting odds, see what's going on at N1Bet. And indeed, they are going to be the very heavy favorites. $1.50 to $12.59. My goodness.
Jeez.
That's some heavy odds against YG. I don't think they're that unfavored, surely. I mean, they're not a bad team.
No, definitely not. But I think that's just probably statistical data as well for Motivate.Trust. They probably played more games on record, so it just kind of looks better compared to an unknown factor. Although if you do open Dota Plus right now, Mike, you'll see a 53% win probability for Motivate.Trust just from draft. So there it is. Even our AI overlords think Motivate.Trust has this one. Just slightly better for them.
Okay. I mean, fair enough. I think their draft is really what does it, though. Like, we'll see. I mean, I can't really doubt PA just straight off the bat. The problem is the Necrophos makes it really hard. And the boat run buff as well that you're going to get from Fearless's Conquer makes it even more difficult because they take such reduced damage. Let's see what Hao does here on the PA. Frostbite was used up there. I believe. Zorain, did he lose something? I think he lost the boar. Not sure what the tips were out for, but... No, the tips were out because they killed the boar and Set Zero got about a quarter of his XP bar filled up. Because the boars do give a lot of XP, and now Set Zero, he's going to block the cap and find an Observer Ward. Lucky CM.
Yeah, lots of value there for Set Zero. Gets to start off with a good amount of gold. Look at that. Sending out the wand, another mango. And maybe we're seeing the value from that lower mana cost Frostbite. Like level 125 from 140 feels good. He used it twice. That's amazing. Doesn't have the greatest mana. That's actually big because with a 267 base mana pool at 140, you only get one spell use. So, it's showing its work.
That is fair. I didn't think about it that way. That is very fair, John. The level 1 timing does seem to be very, very strong now. Well, it's stronger than it used to be, that's for sure. So, Skill Lane now going to have to experience it himself. Luckily, the duration is, 1.5 seconds? So it doesn't really hold him down that long anyway. We'll just take a bit of damage from the creep wave. But I think Set Zero does have a lot of value just in being able to deny those boars off for Zorain. And, I mean, we've mentioned this many times, but those boars, they are worth a ridiculous amount of XP. So just being able to do this for Set Zero is well and truly worth. And for Zorain, you might start to feel like you shouldn't even bother spawning the boar while the CM is around.
Yeah, I mean, look at Set Zero. He's level 2. Compare that to a Shaker stuck at 1 with no EXP. I'd say you're getting max value from that CM. It's free farm for Jackie as well because he doesn't have to deal with the Beastmaster and the boar. And he's just clearing out the creep wave by himself with a good pull back. So I think this lane is shaping up really nicely for Motivate.Trust, and YG's going to have to find a different angle to leverage that army down the line. Like they did use the Hawks nicely in the rune fight earlier, although they haven't gotten the D ward, but Set Zero is just doing his job well, and he's not dying. That's the big part as well.
Zorain going to take a bit of harassment here. Kristanova out. Okay, maybe this hero is a bit too strong now because Zorain's just getting completely tortured in this bottom lane. We'll have a look at the other lanes though. We've been so focused on bot lane, we haven't looked at mid where Fearless and Young PH are going to go at it. Right now it does appear to favor Young PH, at least in terms of CS. I think as the levels go up on Fearless, the Tidebringer naturally going to hurt a lot more But young PH, he's doing a really fantastic job in ensuring he gets every CS available to him. And Fearless, trying to do the exact same, but is going to find himself at least 3 creeps behind.
That's a big thing with Kunkka versus Storm. Like, Storm, he's ranged, and, you know, he can come in to harass with Static Remnant. Fearless, he's melee, so even if you hit the Tidebringer from afar, it's nice, but young PH is also just going to run up to you for the Static Remnant anyway. He's got the Overload to clear out the creep wave. The only thing holding back Storm is mana, but mana doesn't tend to be an issue on mid because of water runes and bottle timing, so you know, young PH is always just going to be able to get a little bit extra. I think Fearless might have to start thinking about his side camp and just playing around with small camp to build up now.
So Rain's still getting tipped. I believe Sedzero probably just got another boar off him. Top lane, Masaros and Q are going to go for a bit of a dive here onto Lun. They won't find Hal, but they'll go after the easier target anyway. Balance is there. Maybe they will go after Hal. But no, they're going to leave him on very low HP or the Death Pulse. It won't be enough. He had stick charges. Of course, you buy the magic wand against the Necro because he does spam out so many spells, but it may not matter in the end. As the Primal Spling is there, Fairy Fire is going to be eaten, but it won't matter. Masaros has enough damage, and this is why Necrophos does tend to do very well against the PA, among other things.
Yeah, and gotta give a quick mention for our friend Crest. He's a blatant Necrophos spammer. He would be laughing in joy about this. Hopefully not too happy because he hates when the hero is nerfed. How having a really slow start, 13-2 in CS, Masaros 8 above. They do have good minus armor and synergy with the physical output of the PA, but once Masaros gets a valid point in the Shroud, you're not going to melt him, and it's even worse with a Heartstopper up. Like, even if he's not hitting you, you're just melting him.
Yep, Masaros is not going to die. Q will take care of Lun. Hal, or maybe he does die. Ghost Shroud's going to wear off, and he does indeed go down as Q now. Unable to finish the kill off onto Lun, so they get a bit greedy in the end, and they get punished for it. Very nice little play there from YG, kind of baiting with their vengeful spirit. Does definitely pan out in their favor. See if they can keep it up, though, as now Q's going to get jumped on. He'll be okay, though. Jingu is going to be procced. But you are seeing the effect of that change at the level 1 Boundless Strike. It definitely felt pretty lackluster in terms of damage.
Yeah, it's not as good, and that will lead to early issues because you kind of leave that level 1. You know, you want to get your other skills up first. Your output is not as good. The awkward thing for YG, even if Lun doesn't die, he has to walk back to base. He doesn't have regen left. He doesn't have anything to contribute, so you leave Hao alone once more, and that should open up more opportunities for Motivate.Trust if they want to be aggressive. Hao is still trying to play catch-up on the PA with farm, still lagging behind Masaros, and Hao is queuing up the Battle Fury. And we've seen a couple of PAs come in. You know, Battle Fury timing for the hero, it just feels awkward. Like, it doesn't feel like it plays fast enough. The flash farm is just delayed to other cores. And especially compared to the TB, Jackie's going to have stronger early presence compared to that PA because of these item timings.
Mid lane, young PH, bottle filled up, Fearless gonna get jumped here. Lun is around, but Boat is gonna fly in, and that'll reduce a lot of the damage that he can take, but they'll still try to go for this. Fearless, he'll X up young PH, make sure he can't chase him down too far, and eventually just drags him back. It's that very nice effect of the Boat Rum. Just so much flexibility with the way you use it. I'm sure young PH and YG are still going to be pretty satisfied that they are forcing this Conquer to run back to the fountain. But in the meantime, top lane Hal, where he found a courier of Masaros. He's lost all his raindrop charges, all stick charges used up, and now he'll just be kind of forced to try and juke and jive his way out of this. But Masaros probably just going to keep chasing him down, and eventually, can they get the kill Q? One more hit? No, he won't get it. They'll have to try into skill lane instead, or Lun, and they will with the death pulses out. They can't actually fight back. Primal Spring in, Lun may eventually just drop anyway, and does. So you don't get Hal. You do drop him to very low HP though. And Hal, he hasn't TP'd back to base either. Zoro, or Zorain, gonna go down to Jackie. Another nice kill here for Motivate.
Look at the Beastmaster. He's still level 4. Set 0 is level 5 on CM.
Oh boy.
Your offlaner is just so far behind in EXP, and it's down to these support rotations being forced out of YG to stabilize their mid, to stabilize their top. You're just leaving your Beastmaster alone. He's lost his tower. Although Jackie.
And they're going to zip in with young PH. He is full mana, might be able to pump out a lot of damage, but Jackie has the Sunder. He'll get it off in time, and now the turnaround. Zorain, he just TP'd back. Can they at least kill off Jackie? I mean, they have to. Jackie, no, the Torrent Boat. Fearless, he's going to save the day. Young PH now, he's out of mana. Can he get out? Fearless, he's got a Tidebringer hit. Nice Vortex from young PH, that'll save him. He's going to be alright. And so will Skill Lay. Even with escaping, though, you've got to be very sad. Like, you don't get the Jackie kill. Zorain gets taken down a second time. He's going to make the Walk of Shame back. And in the meantime, top tier 1 tower is going to drop. And Motivate.Trust, they are looking very dominant already during game 1.
They're getting everything from every single lane. 4-2, 4K lead at 8.5 minutes. That is ridiculous. That is way too much to play against YG. We talked about PA timings. Now it's still a long way from that battlefield to catch up.
Masteros has got the Reaper Scythe up now, John. Don't forget how he's dropping very low. Reapers is there. It's not going to be enough. Masteros might still be able to get it. Ghost Shroud. No, the Blink Strike. Very close call, and now he's in a bit of an awkward scenario here on the Necro. Foot of Defiance is there for defensive capability as young PH. He's going to have the Vortex in time. Masteros out of mana. He'll stick charge up. Barely survives. Death Pulse is out, but it won't matter in the end. Nice pickup from YG. But young PH, he has to work overtime to make sure he gets that kill.
Yeah, it does cost them a lot of rotations once more. While that happened, they lose their Shaker support down mid. Got jumped by Fearless and Set Zero. Just having so much early impact with the team. They are scanned out from the smoke, but Zorain still surrounded.
He's going to be alright. Set Zero, he's got his heart set on the balls. Although I say that, Zorain, no. Don't turn around. Raw is there. He just wants a CM kill. Zip in. Young PH, he might get it done. Zorain, is he going to survive? It looks like he will, at least for now. Fearless cannot finish off the kill, so they at least get Set Zero. And I'm sure for Zorain, that felt very good.
Yeah, they finally save out the Beastmaster and get a kill. It is a CM, but you know, at this point, when you're 3K behind sub 10 minutes, every single kill counts. For Motivate.Trust, what they're doing is creating space now for Jackie. He has a ton of stacks in the triangle. He's just getting to work clearing them out by himself. His farm is just shooting up. He's got the Dragonlance. He's going for the Yasha. It's going to be very tanky. Remember, with the increased strength gain he has a little bit more HP. So every single point of Agi giving him more armor is also equally more valuable. It's a cascading effect with EHP and the calculations that has. So he's going to be relatively fine against the damage output of How, even with the minus armor coming through from Lun. It doesn't feel like you'll rip through the TB, and it goes back to just having really only the Storm, maybe the Shaker to an extent with a Slam. But Skill-Lay's timing for the Blink is still a ways off. So I don't think Jackie has much to worry about. And for Motivate.Trust, as long as Jackie's happy, the rest of the team is fairly happy as well.
You know who isn't happy right now, John? It's Hal. On this PA, he's 3.7k net worth. He's got a broadsword on him, so that's kind of nice. A bit of bonus damage. But he's having a very rough time. And this is why I like the way Masteros plays the offlane. He tends to haunt the opposing pos 1. And that's something you really want to do as a position 3, is constantly try to follow the position 1 on the enemy team across the map and just annoy the crap out of them. Especially when they can't get the bottom tier 1 tower. Because Hal has to farm here. He can't go to the triangle. He can't go bot lane because the tier 1 tower is still standing. So he's stuck at this top lane trying to farm up. And as the Necrophos, you could just stay here indefinitely until this happens. Swap is going to be there. They'll try to burst him down, but here comes the boat. And in the end, Masteros won't die. And they might even be able to kill Lun. As he gets caught out, you have the Reapers if you need it. And they'll commit it. In fact, they even found Skill Lay. Set Zero, he'll let it go. And it was more than enough to find the secondary support on the side of YG. And you know what that means, John? Hal has to now go down to the bot lane. But I don't know if that's going to be very safe for him. I think Motivate, they might just chase him down there.
Yep, they could opt to still defend that bot tier 1. I think they might want to maybe get some progress on the tier 2 top or the mid tier 1 instead. They are still kind of staying that jungle area. we didn't quite talk about it, but there's some actual cool synergy with CM and Monkey King. So you've got the Freezing Field and the Wukong's Command for area control, and you only really, again, have to line up your stuns to block one. They do send Masaros down, as you said. You know, Masaros just stalks the living hell out of the opposing core. So even the bot lane's not safe for Hao, and Q's giving some good vision out.
Yeah. And so they should, John. This is the way you really just torture the enemy pos 1, is you just never let them have a place to farm comfortably. And Hao, once he has the Battle Fury, he'll go to the triangle happily. But until that point, it's just not going to be fun. I mean, on the brighter side, he got a possessed mask, so he has a bit of life still. So maybe he could try the triangle. And he will now with the help of Zorain and Lun being around. But that's the desperation play. You've literally got to have your team around to help you take these stacks and these ancients.
Yeah, it's just not as efficient. You know, you're sharing one spot, you're not getting as much EXP because you're not spread out. They will smoke around though. They've got the Orchid up on Young PH. That's a good spike. They could try to catch someone out and just get a fast kill.
Now, Q breaks the smoke though. Magic Missile, or rather Wave of Terror, is going to give the vision. So Young PH, he'll show off the Orchid now. And it should be a nice easy kill onto Q. And they will get it. Mega kill spree for Young PH. His 5th kill of the game now. No deaths on the Storm. I suppose that is really the one saving grace right now for YG. Is their mid lane does consistently go pretty well. So they may be able to just kind of rely on Young PH to be able to carry them through this very awkward early to mid game.
So you do have to kind of try to go for that defense in mid tier 1. They grab the bot tier 1, but the mid does fall in exchange. So it's a bigger trade for Motivate.Trust. Opens up the jungle even more. Look at all the sentries they've got on that area. They just want to ensure there's no vision coming through for YG here. If they lose their tier 2 tower as well, once they lose the outpost, they have no control in that jungle.
Oh, Fearless. He's got an Orchid up himself. Boat's going to fly in with the X setup. Pig out won't help him out enough. And they got the mid tier 1. They're going to go straight after the top tier 2. And if they manage to somehow get this and take the outpost prior to the 15-minute mark, that is such a big problem for YG. With a draft like theirs that relies on momentum, how do you even come back? They're going to leave it for now at the very least. So they're not losing that top tier 2 yet. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, they do find out Q again. So another nice pick off here for Young PH. He'll take it on the Storm. I suppose if they can keep feeding off this Monkey King, eventually they might be able to swing back the net worth.
Yep, they're having pretty good spikes on YG. Like the Battle Fury is up on Hao. So considering that lane, a 14.5 minute to 15-minute Battle Fury is actually not too bad. And that is when his farm should skyrocket. So let's see how fast he can catch up. He needs a lot of space in the triangle. They are defending that tier 2, although Fearless is ready to fight.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Boat was not off cooldown this time, but they do force 2 heroes to rotate. Zorain eventually just going to cancel his TP off, and that means they're going to go back in for a fight. Fearless, he's having a look around, but won't spot anyone that he's interested in. So set 0, mate. Lun, no escape, skill lay, he's the primary target. They just want to continue delaying that Blink Dagger timing. And Motivate.Trust, they are going to continue pursuing this top tier 2. Fearless, he'll leave his team to it while they go after Zorain instead. Bot lane, this man just cannot catch a break. Boat's going to be there. Masaros sends him right to the Shadowlands. Top lane on the brighter side, Q does go down again for YG, and they might get a second kill here onto set 0. Zorain's given the tips over, but you got the top tier 2 tower. I mean, you're still very happy as Motivate at the moment. Nothing to be upset about.
Yeah, you lose your 2 supports. You found an offlaner in exchange. You get the tower in the end. It's all still lining up for Motivate.Trust's game plan overall. You do have to worry about how much the Storm has. You know, he is going to have a BKB and relatively good time. And that could put a spanner in the works for them, although Lun.
Yeah, he's been caught. Ghost Shroud is there. Slow won't be enough, but the X will. Fearless locks him down. Orchid just in case. Jackie will say thank you very much. 4th kill of the game for the TB. And more concerning signs, John. Jackie's got a double damage rune. He sees a Roshan. And to make matters worse, he's on his way to an Ive Skadi already. So the farming came from Jackie right now extremely fast. They're not going to back out of the Roshan pit yet either. even with the buyback out from Lon, but you've got to be careful. There is a blink now on skill late. With the Echo, he might be able to force a good fight for his team. We'll see. As Jackie moves back into the Roshan. Lon gonna move in with the Wave of Terror. Young PH will zip right through. Q misses the Boundless. And I think this Roshan fight is gonna be really on the back of Skill A to try and land that Echo we're looking for. He'll sneak in, smoke about to wear off. They won't see him. No wards to scan out the Earthshaker. Motivate, though, still very cautious, understanding that they may have that play up their sleeve. Back into the Roshan. Young PH, he'll buy and play the betas. Now the Echo comes in. Skill A, he gets a perfect. Is it going to be enough, though? Not quite. The boat flies in, and they are just falling like flies. Massaros cleans up. There's a Reaper's Scythe. An ultra kill out for Massaros. And that's the best you could ask for. That's as good as it was going to get. And it still was not enough to take down Motivate.Trust.
Oh. You could try to deny the Aegis, as Roshan's still low, so the creep armor is up in front. It doesn't take too long to wipe it out. And they get it. Fearless grabs it instead of Jackie, as, you know, they don't really want to leave that lying around, but YG, that's fairly concerning. Initiation was on point. They only managed to lock in Jackie. Now you've got to deal with 2 lives on Fearless. He's just way too tanky in that Kunkka right now, doing a ton of damage, a ton of work with the Orchid. Side of Motivate.Trust, I don't think they mind too much. They still get the Roshan gold, they get the Aegis on Fearless. YG, they're starting to really lag behind. 9k lead building up for Motivate.Trust. They need to just pull this PA back, keep the farm game up for Hao. He is rushing the BKB as well, so there's going to be some protection there.
They're about to scout out Zorain. They won't make the jump in at the very least. They're going to pay him a little bit of respect here on the Beastmaster. This Overlord timing though, John, it's looking very rough for him. I mean, maybe 22 minute mark is when you have it up, unless Jackie spots him out now. Metamorphosis is available and the pings are coming out onto the Beastmaster. There's your meta pop. They really want to force this. Dominated creep, gonna go down immediately. And if they won't want to fight, they'll go after the tier 2 tower instead. Keep in mind that Metamorphosis did have an Arcane Rune going as well, so the cooldown is going to be significantly lower here for Jackie. And I think YG, they can't fight this. I mean, how do you? Without the Echo up, even with it, I don't know if they would be able to do this. Young PH, gonna get some vision. Jackie loses a bit of HP. Back in they go.
They managed to cut off the blink timing as well with the illusion, and they got the axe.
That'll be enough. I think YG, they'll back off. Motivate.Trust will do the same, and would you believe it, John, there's a double damage at the bot rune spot. So, I mean, Jackie, yeah, he doesn't need it right now, but if you have a bottle up, you'll more than happily just save it for the next meta, which will be up in 45 seconds. So there you go. Jackie, he'll hold on to that. Keep it tightly in his pocket, you know. Just wait for that right moment, which I'm sure will be very soon.
No, YG smoked up. They're trying to wrap around. Jackie's all alone right now. That could be a big kill.
Yeah, but Zorain's been caught out of the Beastmaster, and he gets Reaper Scythe down. Jackie seems to know something's awry, and does get caught by the Vortex. Orchid is there. This will be a massive pick-off, and they do get him. Very nice pick there for YG. In the meantime, they do get Hao. So, I mean, pos 1 for pos 1 trade, add the pos 3 on top. Can they find more? Q, he found Lun, Fearless. Oh, he needed the X there and didn't have the vision. So I think for YG, even if it was a negative trade on their end of things, you got Jackie, you'll take it.
Yeah, you get the big kill you were looking for. You really want to keep this Terrorblade down. Currently at 422 on the board there. So, important kill, and the gold slowly flowing towards Young PH is really, really helpful, as he is trying to go for more items up. Looks like he wants that Octarine up on his end, so once that's up and running, he should be able to just sustain himself out front, use his spells a lot more often. I think he'd want an Ags, although...
Oh, they get the Frostbite off, Boundless Strike is there, but Young PH, he's going to be able to zip out. So you can see YG just not feeling very comfortable right now. Oh, how he's just desperately trying to get that BKB up so he can actually fight with his team. It's about 50 gold away from that BKB. And it's not really going to mean he has enough damage, but at least he has a chance at fighting. Which is really all he needs right now. You can work on the Deso later. And there you go, he's got it up. It might be perfect timing for him, or maybe not. We'll see, as it does eventually come out, but the balance strike is there. Torrent is going to be committed with the X, but he does pop it. Back in on Fearless, but the boat rum is already there. Can you fight? Jumping back in, Fearless looking for more. So confident on the Kunkka. X is up 1. It's going to be Zorain. They won't really have the greatest follow-up though. But Jackie, he's popped the DD. He wants to start moving into that tier 3 tower, and Metamorphosis has been committed. This tier 3 won't take long. Young P, oh, the Orchid's out. Young PH, he gets caught. Reaper Scythe is there. Onto the tier 3 tower they go. Echo is out, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter though, John. Or does it? Roar is out. Jackie's been caught. They do at least kill off set 0, but that's a Crystal Maiden you've got. Masaros, he'll be swapped back in. They can't kill him. Or can they? How? Jumps in. Primal Spring is there. They've X'd him up. Boundless Strike is out. And I suppose you kill set 0, but he's brought back and rejoined his team. Motivate, they're not going to force this any further anyway. They'll respect YG's high ground defense. And they got two buybacks out of them. So they'll be okay. Fearless. Orchid there. He's away from his team and he's going to pay for it. These are the kind of mistakes you don't want to see from Motivate right now. That is exactly what happens though, as now Masaros gets stunned up by the magic missile. Lun, gonna be chased down. Masaros, no Reapers, but look at the damage he has. Meanwhile, Hal, gonna try and jump in on set 0. He'll get the dieback on the Crystal Maiden. Nice pick off there for our Phantom Assassin. Can they keep it up? Young PH in on Q now. After the Wukong's command, they'll get another. Very slow, but meticulous kind of kills here from YG. They're going to lose Zorain. Hal needs to be careful, but now the jump is there onto Masaros. They've got the Ghost Round already committed. Sunder is going to save at least for now, but Jackie, he'll be jumped instead, and they will just take him down. Tip immediately out from Zorain. Oh, the Savior Buddy Syndrome from Motivate.Trust not paying off in their favor, as now Fearless is brought back. And they have really messed up this mid game for themselves, I think. I mean, it's not completely going back the way of YG, but they've got to be very cautious. I mean, these kills are very unnecessary.
Yeah, they've managed to get pretty much the top cores from the side of Motivate.Trust on YG's end, so they claw their way back. Their PA's only 1,000 gold behind Masaros, about 2,000 behind Jackie. That's really good recovery on Hal. Like, the BKB's been helping him up front. I think the evasion's a big issue. And that added evasion now, 50% at max, is just really, really strong. And it is going to have to force some sort of item build-up here. I think the Blood Torm on Fearless, perhaps, or just an MKB straight up on Jackie, and Jackie is saving for 1 after the BKB. So the durability of Hao is just an issue when they don't have the magic damage, when they don't have the sight, and they can't channel the freezing field. Hao just gets to go to work. And that's going to be amplified by the Deso, which is almost up on Hao. So you are hitting a good second life here for YG. They're still 11k behind, but they have the tools to kind of bring the fight back to Motivate.Trust. Motivate.Trust, they've still got superior map control, so they're clearing out the top jungle. The side of YG still forced to clump around her triangle. They are starting to plant some forward wards now, and they could look to rotate. They've got the Roar ready on Zhao Rain. They just need a good target to take. Motivate.Trust, it looks like they might wait for that next rush. We're going to see the timer fairly soon, and it is a longer rush, 2 minutes on the cooldown. So, not quite up for them to instantly take, and that is going to give more time for YG to play this catch-up game.
Yeah, mid-tier 1 tower. Starts slowly being chipped away out with this Helm of the Overlord. But the Ancient Thunderhide, but Fearless going to even deny that off. Not interested in any gold going back the way of YG. Now top tier 3. Being pushed in by the creep wave. Young PH, he'll respond to that. You're getting to that stage now for Young PH where he's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. If he gets the Aghanim Scepter up, that could be pretty game-changing in this game. Like, bringing everyone together for the cleave of the PA. And on top of that, you've still got the Echo to worry about. So, another kind of mini black hole-esque ability here for the side of YG once the Ags is available. But they are going to need to save up the time for him to be able to farm that up. And it is still going to be a while away.
Yeah. It's just a matter of patience for YG to hit those item spikes. Slowly but surely they are getting them done. On the side of Motivate.Trust, just biding their time as well. They had Set Zero sit in the Roche pit for at least a minute until he finally left there. And they are going to have to play into the Hawk. So the information game's always there for YG with the Beastmaster. They should be able to intercept that Roshan. We saw how that fight broke out. Last time they had a really big slam coming through from skill A. I think they can line up for that once more. But it does feel like the BKB of Jackie should align with Roche timing. He is just about 700, 800 gold away. So not too far off from the protection that our Terrorblade needs. And that should also kind of be a big spike for him. Like, just allows him to not care about every single spell except for Swap and Roar. And there is a bit of a smoke play from YG though.
There is. They're feeling confident now. Deso up on Hal. Definitely a lot of damage coming out now from this PA. The scary factor, Set Zero, Glimmer Cape, he's going to break the smoke, but they see him. Not the target they wanted, but it's not a bad one to start on either. Just blow up one of the Pos 5s. And the big positive for YG is Roshan is up. In fact, Masaros. He's going to be scouted. Fearless, X out, Orchid, all being thrown onto the bench. Meanwhile, on the backside, they caught out Q. The Monkey's going to drop, but Reaper's Sight is there on Lunt to make sure the bench is down. But now young PH, he'll move in onto the Necro, Masaros. He's going to be in a spot of danger. A lot of damage, but a big torrent out. Fearless onto 2. He kills off young PH, and now the chase is on. They want Hal, they want Zorain, they want Skill Lay. Hal, dangerous type to farm, sir. He's going to back. The Motivate.Trust, they might have first dibs over this Roshan now. Without the Storm, it's going to be very hard to ask YG to try and counter this Roshan out.
Yeah, they still have the Roar, they still have the Slam, they've got the Swap if Lund can get Vision out. And he is. He does have that Wave of Terror, fairly spammable, so they can keep track. The side of Motivate are ready to defend. They even have well, they have Set Zero back, but he has to be a bit cautious.
Still Roshan half HP now. 30 seconds left for young PH. Not going to be there in time for sure. Roshan continues. Lun, he'll get the vision with the Wave of Terror, but how are they going to initiate here? So close to dropping. They're going to move in now. Q is there. They've jumped in with the Earthshaker, but it's not enough. He doesn't get the Echo off. Just immediately stopped. I believe it was by Q. I suppose maybe if you landed the Echo, could have worked out, but just not quite there.
Yeah, that was a preemptive BKB from Jackie, so he doesn't have the charge for the high ground fight, but should refresh in time for him to use it with his Aegis. And side of Motivate.Trust still looking for stragglers. YG, they have to hold high ground now. They can't really play outside.
Hal, oh, they know he's there. They are going to scout him out. Blur is going to do absolutely nothing as Fearless will force out the BKB. At least he does have the TP away. Zorain, though, Torrent is going to be right on target. He tried to save himself, but they'll have to swap him out. Lun, he'll take the death. Reaper Sight is out. It won't be quite enough, but it won't matter anyway. Lun's down for 73 without buyback. And that should allow Motivate, if they want, to force a tier 3 tower. Knowing the Venge is down, it is still going to be tough without the meta though. But I think YG will have to allow them to take this.
Yeah, they could try to defend again with the Slam and with the Roar, but it does feel like the Venge is pivotal to just getting the burst damage on their PA. Even with the Deso up, that Wave of Terror is just still really impactful, and the swaps are just really useful to save your cores as well. So it's a massive risk to just go in, although they're just playing with the Storm trying to zip in the back line, but it's not enough to hold off Jackie, whose BKB is off cooldown, who still has Aegis, doesn't really have a care in the world.
Boat gonna fly in, Zorain being targeted. Tidal Wave is there as well. Fisher Not gonna do anything. They try to jump in on Q, but Disarm is there with a Heaven's Halberd from Fearless Q. Still gonna get jumped. Hal does get the kill, but where do you go now? He's been X back. Hal, he'll be forced to BKB up and try to run. Jackie, though, he'll be on the chase with the Eye of Skadi. Meanwhile, our Storm, he will escape, but Hal is not really so lucky as Torrent and Orchid's gonna be there, and he's been left behind. Not great news for YG, is all that gold is going to go the way of Masaros, and he's got no buyback.
Yeah, it's a massive opening for Motivate.Trust. They still have Aegis as well. They don't really lose much. The MKB is flying out for Jackie, which probably won't contribute much because the PA is dead. With the added attack speed, still going to feel really good. And they take 2 sets of racks. Pinks are coming out for the last set of racks if you want to, but no. They could just go tier 4s if they felt like it. There's still a lot of heroes up. A bit of a risk, and Metamorphosis is fading, so they don't have that big damage spike. But again, with Aegis up, no real reason to pull back.
No, absolutely not. They'll move in tier 3 tower now. 40 seconds without Hal. He's only 136 gold short. That's the worst part for that buyback. There is one bounty rune on the Radiant side. And I think Young PH is checking his own side for a bounty, but he's not going to find one. Very unfortunate stuff here for Hal, who just can't respawn. And Mega Creeps eventually will come up. I suppose you've got one last team fight ahead of you if you're YG. They've got to make it work, though, if they have any chance of staying in this game 1. And even then, against Megas, it's not looking healthy for them, not looking too great. They'll smoke up. They're going to try. Skill late, looking at Jackie. Everyone's very split right now. Swap is there. Masaros immediately with the Ghost Shroud. We're all going to be committed. Zip in now as well. Big Vortex with the AoE and now the Echo, but no, it's not enough. The damage isn't there. Skill lane and Lana both died. Hell, he's the only one left trying, but they call it. The supports of YG, they know it's over. After their spells literally did no damage. Motivate.Trust. Pretty confident game number 1.
Yeah, they had a really strong draft on hand. They go back to the Terrorblade that, again, wasn't really nerfed too hard in the last patch. It got buffed in this sub-patch and just does a ton of work. Yangon Galacticos, they went into the Venge first. They had a Beastmaster. It looked good to start with, but they didn't manage to get that running start we expected. Like the top lane for Zorain, his off lane just didn't, the bot lane for him didn't really slow down Jackie all too much. Set 0 on that CM. That lower mana cost on the Frostbite actually did give him so much value in lane. Like he had enough to cast 2 in his first level, and that just cut off the boar supply. He was keeping up pace with a Beastmaster's levels and overtook him. And so the state of the early game of YG was just a bit too slow. Their PA Battle Fury timing was still alright considering the slow lane, but they needed so much more to come out, and Motivate.Trust just played faster.
I do agree with you on that sentiment with the CM, John. I think Crystal Maiden does need the movement speed nerfed again. We'll let Ice Frog take care of that one, as we are going to head to a short 10-minute break. And right after that break, we're going to be back with Game 2 between Motivate.Trust and YG.